welcome back to the channel. To those of you who are new to the channel, a big welcome. I'm going to get started straight away with the WIPS and completed pages for September. I have quite a selection to go through, so I don't want to take up too much time, but rather dive straight into it. For those of you who are new to the channel, I've been working on completing quite a large pile of WIPs. About 4 to 6 weeks ago, I posted on the channel a video sharing with you all a complete account, to my knowledge, a complete account of all the WIPs that I have developed over the past 2 years of adult coloring. And that total had been up at around 80 WIPs or works in progress. Now, I didn't include the Elena Lazareva pages I was practicing coloring skin tone on, mainly because I've moved on from that, and they were tester pages I was using to develop my skills and practice things. So I haven't included those in that collection of 80 WIPs. So I'm going to show you the WIPs that I have worked on during September but have not finished yet, and then I will go on and show you the pages that I have completed in September. There will be a couple of pages that I have started as color alongs on the channel or done in my live stream. So without any further ado, let's get started. So here I have the Midnight Masquerade by Hannah Lynn, and in this book I have 2 incomplete pages, and they kind of form a double page spread, and that is these beautiful portraits here. Now all I did so far is I came back into her collar and I brightened up the red undertones or the red parts of these cards, and then I've started playing with her hair. I'm not really 100% sure I like the red highlights in her hair, so I might remove them completely altogether and just give her black hair. We'll see. These 2 pages I really am struggling with, so I will come into them when I get inspiration and then probably come out again. I also used a black gel pen here on the collar and on the spade in her necklace or the frill, and I've been using polychromos to color this in. So yeah, I don't have a whole lot more to say about them. They're not, right now I don't like them, but I'm sure when they are completed I might change my mind. So yeah, that is what I have touched on in Midnight Masquerade by Hannah Lynn. Then we have Gracia Salvo's Wild Soul coloring book, and here at the very bottom it actually says an Amazon softcover edition. Now I don't know which brand of or which option the artist Gracia Salvo chose for the Amazon version of her book Wild Soul. I do know this is Amazon printed paper, so it's the difficulties I'm having with it are not unsurprising. Is it better than, say, the Nice Little Town set of Amazon books by Tatiana, Bergamma, Stellovo? I think yes, but I'm not 100% sure right now. So I've been doing this page, and I've been using Prismacolor for her skin, her dress, her hair, the jewels, and I've been using polychromos on the leaves, and I must tell you that I don't like polychromos on this paper. It is just horrible. I can't get the layers to stick. I can't get it to really do anything. I've gone over all the leaves with markers to try and brighten them up and help speed up the layered process. I've tried going over it with, I think, Prismacolors, and all I can say is that the polys on this paper, it just doesn't work. It's a very smooth paper. When I rub it here, it's very smooth. I don't know if there's a lot of tooth. It seems to also have like a, it has an odd finish to it. It's not the same as your normal print paper, which has, even though it's thin, has got a different texture. The texture on this paper is very odd for me personally. I'm not saying it's necessarily wrong. It's just a very odd experience. Now, I've used markers, and you can see I've only got some bleed through up here. So it does hold the bleed. It doesn't really bleed through as badly as some other Amazon pages do. Some paper, you have a complete shape of the illustration on the back. So I don't have that, which I think is a positive, because you could use mixed media possibly, and it could work out okay. Prismacolor so far, it seemed to be the better coloring option. So all I really need to do is maybe finish up some of the leaves, or I might just leave the leaves and just finish the animal. I think it's a wolf, either a wolf or a dog, and then complete her nails and the ring, and then she's done. So I might just do that and leave the leaves, because they've just been an absolute nightmare. So that is what I'm working on in Wild Soul by Grazia Salvo. The next book I have for you is Coloring Heaven, a Steampunk special. These are illustrations by Matt and Dawn Davidson. Now in here, I've been working on this one. And here you can see the polychromos pencils I've been using for her dress. So I started her skin with a layer of Prismacolor pencils, but then I've built up the skin tones with polychromos, and I've done everything basically on the page so far has been with polychromos, and it's worked really, really well. I'm really loving the gold work I've done here on her dress. I used a glitter pen for the black edging of her clothes and the strap of her bag. I'm not yet decided on what color to use for the bag, but I've got a bit more work here on the sleeve, to finish the red part of her dress, and then I'm possibly going to do this section white with gold cogs, and then a white metal dragon of sorts. So, and then she'll have black hair. I'll do this band here red, and then I think I'll do this gold with maybe some red bits on the sticks here, or her hairpins might be red. So yeah, she's still got a bit of work, but she's coming along really, really beautifully. I might not even do a background, because she's coming out really, really well, and I wouldn't want to ruin the picture with just a odd background. So yeah, so that is my WIP in Steampunk special in Coloring Heaven magazine by Matt and Dawn Davidson. Then next up I have The Flower Year, a coloring book by Layla Dooley, and I haven't been able to get down to filming more of this, but this is where we are. I'm hoping to do another couple of videos for this page as soon as possible. I must say I found September to be a really busy month. I've had a lot to do with the boys' schooling, getting them all settled, adjusting to new formats. So in the midst of that and social events and other things that have kick-started this month, it's been really, really busy, and we've had a bit of illnesses as well. So it's been one of those months where things have just been quite demanding. So I haven't had as much time as I'd like to get to film, but I'm hopeful that that will settle soon, and I'll be able to do more work here. So this is going to possibly go into October, and then I'll pick something smaller in October to do. But yeah, again, I'm using polychromos and it's working really well. If you're interested in this paper here, this is wax paper. I just put sheets of sandwich paper between my pages to protect the colors. I haven't sprayed most of these pictures yet with a fixative, so I use the wax paper to just protect the pages. So that is what I've done in The Flower Year, a colouring book by Layla Dooley. My next work, which is also a colour along, is in The Fragile World by Kirby Rosanas. And we are doing axolotls. So here you get a sneak peek into how this is looking now. I haven't filmed this page. I've been filming and showing you how to do this color along with this side of the page. Now everything, the color combinations for the plants and the fish, I will show you and update you so that you know exactly how to do it. I'll walk you through it, and then we will do it the rest of the page or the double page spread on camera. And the reason I didn't film this white axolotl or the green plants and these little fish or even the bubbles is because I needed to get my head around what this double page spread would look like, which colors I was going to use, where I was going to put them, what it would look like. I couldn't visualize it in my mind's eye, so I had to take time to actually sit down and do it. So now that I know what I'm doing, it will be easy for me to walk you through these and then finish the rest of the double page spread on camera. But I also have my sheet of swatches, and I've kept all the color combinations that I've used on this page so that you will know exactly what to put where, and you can follow that, and then we will finish it on this side. So not necessarily ideal for a double page spread, but helpful for me to get a handle on something so big. And I will show you how to do the air bubbles, because there's quite a lot on this side as well, so you won't be missing out on anything really. If you look here, these plants, we can bring that color down over here. This one here will be these two sides and here. So I have it all planned out for you, and I'll walk you through each step. So that is what I've been doing in Fragile World, and really, really very proud of how this is looking. So stay tuned. We're going to have this finished in October. I am determined. Next, I have another beautiful page. I have got videos for just about everything I have done on this page. This is in Anastasia Eli Koldereva's book Mysteria. So what I did is I've already filmed the skin. Then I colored this half of the page off camera. I have filmed this thistles and this hair. I also filmed the dress side here, so whatever you do on this side, it's easy to mirror and do on that side. The same process and everything. This only thing I didn't get recorded on camera was the skull, and I'm hoping to be able to do the bird on camera. And then the background, I think I will use soft pastels. So this is a planned color along page, which I will upload and release onto the channel once it's complete, because I want to be able to give it to you all at once. So there's no wait. If you do have this book and you would like to color it in with me. So I'm very proud of how she's come out. Only downside is something smudged on the white spot here, so I might have to come in and fix it. So other than that though, she's really pretty. So that is what I've been coloring in Mysteria by Anastasia Eli Caldereva. As you can see, my trusty wax paper, and there you go. Then my final WIP, which I have been working on and have not completed, is in Mythographic Paradise by Tatiana, no, sorry, not Tatiana, by Fabiana Atanasio. My goodness me. And I've just recently, the past couple of days, been working on this page. So on this page, I'd used a little bit of oil paints down here at the bottom. And then I decided to go ahead and use watercolor paints, and I'm challenging myself to experiment more with watercolor and overcome my my attitude towards watercolor. So I think I've got a long way to go, but I'm pleased with how I'm trying to illustrate the dark shadows, some of the highlights, and I do find using watercolor has sped up the process. So I might have to come in here and just fix here a bit. But other than that, I think it's come along well. I've also been working a bit with the Marco Raffine pencils, which have been an interesting experience because I find that on this paper they layer a bit more, but either I'm unaware of pressing too hard and putting the pigment down too quickly, or the paper just is grabbing hold of that pigment a bit faster than I'd like, because I find it very quick to color with them. So I'm not really sure what's going on there, but this is what I've done so far. And then here I've used Prismacolors. So I'm still working on the color palette here. I'm leaning towards bright greens, white swans, yellow beaks, and a white moon with a halo around it. So hopefully this will be done in October and I can show you this when it's done. Now I still have 2 WIPs in here to complete, but I did complete a WIP in here, and it was this one, which I am very pleased. I think it's come out really well. I used oil paint for the background. I wanted to experiment with the oil paint and see how it would work on paper. And besides it taking a long time to dry, I found that the paper handled it really well, and I was able to blend quite easily. Pencils do layer over it, although the color does shine through. So I ended up painting over some of these flowers lower down, and they have a slight purple tinge to them. I used Prismacolors for basically everything. I tried polychromos up here and with these leaves, but I wasn't very thrilled with what I was getting, so I've changed to the Prismacolor pencils, and I found that they worked really, really well. I used some sparkle pen, Spectrum Noir Sparkle, on the bugs, a white Sakura Jelly Roll for all the highlights, and for the ground here, the grass, I used a base of alcohol marker, as you can see. I also used alcohol markers for the lights of the fireflies. I tried here and here a few places to really work on showing the light reflecting off the bug onto the flowers, and I'm really pleased with myself for attempting that. Light sources not being something I'm very experienced in, so to be able to reflect it and get that impression has been quite a success for me. I think I've still got a long way to go, but I like the start. And then the leaves at the bottom, I decided to do pink because I couldn't find a green that would complement and stand out from the grass, so I went for pink instead because I had like a purpley pink up here, and if I brought it down it would kind of work together. So yeah, I'm really loving this book. I keep wanting to come back to it, so I'm very excited to color in more. That is what I have completed, and my WIP in Mythographic Paradise by Fabiana Atanasio. Next is Magical Dawn by Hannah Lynn, and I did one page in here which I had started about 2 years ago, and it is this one. Now, I started this as a color. I followed Zucchini Kitty's color along tutorial. I just changed the colors up a little bit. So when I started her color along, I decided to change this vase or container to purple and not a carbon copy of what she was doing. And then I just had to change this candle jar to a complementary color, so I went for blue. But the rest of the colors is pretty much following Zucchini Kitty's color along. So I really just wanted to get this page done. I wanted to do it well and quickly, and I really enjoyed not having to think and just follow someone else. So yeah, over here you can see I didn't get the distress ink onto the page very well. That's the line from having the paper kind of like that and then rubbing the distress ink on, and I couldn't remove that line. And then I used Sakura Jelly Roll for all the white highlights. I went over the bottle with Spectrum Noir Sparkle. On the frog is Dovecraft glitter glue. Here is some glitter gel pen. These beads here are glitter gel pen. And I also put some Spectrum Noir Sparkle on the crystal. And then here is also some Dovecraft glitter glue and 3D pearl effects. So it's nice and sparkly. It's pretty. It was easy. It was fun to really just not worry really about what I was coloring and just follow along. Along here are Dovecraft glitter glue as well, and then black gel pen for the edges around here. I think I used just a straight black liner for the other bits of black on the page. So yeah, I'm very happy to have had another page in Magical Dawn complete. And I think that leaves me with 6 more WIPs to finish in this book. The other Hannah Carlson book that I've been working on is Tales from the Forest Kingdom. And here is one completed WIP and one page where we colored it together on the channel. So the WIP I completed and really loved was this page. I'm really pleased with how it came out. So what I did is I based the trees, the ground, and I think the ground here, maybe, but definitely the trees and this meadow, I based in Graphitint. The sky is Prismacolor pencils, and I went over it with Spectrum Noir Sparkle and glitter gel pen for the stars, white Posca pen and Sakura Jelly Roll for the highlights in the moon and the white dots in the sky. And then I went over the trees with the Prismacolor pencils, and I really wanted to show that the stars were shining and alive, that they weren't just any stars. So I used oranges and yellows to really give them a brightness. And I'm really proud of how I showed the light shining on the boys' trousers. I think it really, I'm most proud of that. And I try to reflect it here and a bit on these trees, also here, and around on the grass. Now, like I said, light source has been a challenge for me, so to even be able to showcase the lighting effect on other parts of the page, to me is a huge success. So I'm really super proud of myself for that. I used some Spectrum Noir Sparkle on the stars, if you can see it all, just to give them that extra shimmer. On his buttons I used a glitter gel pen, and I used glitter gel pen on his shoes. And then everywhere else I used Prismacolor pencils. And the idea with the mushrooms is to create that bioluminescence mushrooms. So everything is fantasy, bright, magical, that kind of thing. And then my one son asked me to make the bunny black, so I made the rabbit black. And I quite like that he's black and not a white rabbit. And I was very pleased with the color combination I discovered with the pants and the hats. I really like it, and I also love the beige look he's got going on in his pajama top. I put in the blue pockets to tie in with the boys' pajama pants and pajamas. So yeah, I'm really proud of how he's come out. I think he's really sweet, and I just really love how this page has turned out. And even the fur, I thought I didn't do too badly with the fur. I don't know if it's the best, but it's there. It's got texture. So that's that one. And then on the channel, I'll just put my beeswax back. We did this one as a color along, and we were working at a limited color palette. I used Neocolor 2s for the background, and then I went over it with I think it was white Posca, and I tried to dab it and kind of make it more foggy and magical. I tried to create a portal in the background to show that the deer was either coming out of the portal or going into the portal. Unfortunately, I didn't get the effect. It didn't work. I used acrylic gold paints for all these dots, and Dovecraft glitter glue on the mushrooms, white sakura jelly roll on the spots on the deer, and I used polychromos pencils for this page. So there's a lot that I think works on this page. The only part I don't really like is the fact that I didn't get this portal thing working. And I also use Spectrum Noir Sparkle on the background in this portal or mirror, or whatever you want to call it. So yeah, if I could redo it again, I'd probably come back to it at a later stage, and the only thing I would redo would be this thing behind the deer, and maybe do a different background. But yeah, other than that, it's really, really lovely, and another beautiful color along that we could do together. So that is Tales from the Forest Kingdom by Hannah Lynn. Then I've got Lizzie Mary Cullen, The Magical City, a coloring book, which is finally complete. There are no more WIPS in this book, so hooray! After 2 years and a few months, I have done all the pages that I started. I used Derwent Inktense for this page, and it is St. Basil's Cathedral in Russia. So I started this in 2020, and I only came back to it this month. Here you can see I've reflected the light from the lamp on the building. And then what I realized I did wrong is I should have done a different color combination on this rooftop, and then it would have balanced out, because it disappears into this building. So that these two, I think I could have switched and maybe done like blue and green and yellow. But overall, I'm happy. I'm pleased that it's done. It's yeah, it was great to actually finish it. And I had to create a starry background, because when I started it, it was after I'd done the color along with Peter Hewitt. So I was trying to practice the techniques I learned from her, but in the process I did the building a bit too dark and not enough contrast between my shadows and my lights. So I thought, if I create a nighttime background, it will look a bit better than if it was broad daylight, because during the evening you have less shadow or less highlights, so it was a bit easier to complement. So overall, I think the page works. I did have to refer to a couple of people's completed versions of this page just to work out where to do what, as far as this area here and these bits. The tree was easy, and then also to know how to just which areas to color white, which areas to color green, and that sort of thing. So I did refer back to other people's completed pages, of which I'm really, really grateful. So if you color in a picture and you stick it on social media, a huge thank you, because you help people like me when we get stuck, and we are able to go and look at how you've done it and get the inspiration and the help we need to actually finish a page. So a big thank you to all of you who post your pictures on social media. So that is my finished WIP in The Magical City by Lizzie Mary Cullen. Next I have April's Forest Girl coloring book. I did one page in here, which is this one. So I started this as a color along with Color and Chat with Sammy. She had done a live video using Neocolor 2s and painting, and then after I did some of the video, I didn't come back and finish the book, finish the page. So when I came back to it, I actually just wanted to get this page done, because having as many WIPs as I have, it sometimes feels quite overwhelming. So this is not my best coloring, but I colored it the way I did because I wanted to just complete the page. I don't think it's a complete disaster. The background might not match it very well. Maybe I should have done a blue background instead. I was kind of trying to match the background here, but my colors are a lot darker and not as brown. They're more orangey. So yeah, I did go over it a little bit with pencil on the leaves, but the rest of it is just with Neocolor 2s. And then I used a glitter pen for the highlights on her dress, these pinky bits of the flowers, and her headband. So yeah, that's my completed page in April, A Forest Girl's Colouring Book. Then we have Australian Animals and Wildflowers Colouring Book by Selena Fennick. And I did this one, which is inspired by Colouring with Elena. I did look up pictures for the blue banded bee and the wattle. I didn't know how to approach the wattle, so I referred to Colouring with Elena, her picture, and took inspiration for the wings, the shading on the bee, a bit of help on the eye, and then I checked to see how she did the wattle. So I used more orangey tones for my shadows than muted yellows or greys, and then I took a yellow paint pen and I went around the edges. I missed that one, which I'll have to fix later, but then I just went around the edges and it just softens it. And I used the paint pen to also put some streaks inside the wattle. I used Spectrum Noir Sparkle on the wings, and I hope you can see it, and a bit on the eye as well. I used a black glitter pen, I think, on the pupil of the eye, white Sakura Jelly Roll for the white highlights, Inktense. I used Inktense to baste the picture with, and then I used a soft chalk pastel for the background, which also is inspired by Colouring with Elena. So my picture will look very similar to hers. But it was helpful to have something to refer to just to help me get the page done, and I was able to complete it quite quickly. This is Amazon paper as well, but this has a very different finish. It's not as smooth as the Wild Soul Amazon edition, but for Gracia Salvo. So I find this paper, or this specific option on Amazon, doesn't lend itself to a lot of layers. It's really like 2 or 3, whereas the Wild Soul by Gracia Salvo, I could get an easy 6 layers. So the difference in just the options of Amazon paper, it is noticeable there. So that is what I have colored in Selena Fennick's Australian Animals and Wildflowers coloring book. Next I have Cutesy Christmas Special with various festive designs, and I need to send out a big shout out to Amberley Silencia because of her beautiful video for button noses on Hannah Lynn's pictures. It really was such a pleasure to color along with Amberle Silencia's color along video or tutorial. It really helped me to really bring life into this picture and create something that I really enjoyed. So a big thank you to her for her amazing skills and her beautiful and easy to follow videos. So what I did here is I started with Castle Art pencils, then I switched over to Prismacolor. I changed the background to look like it was an outdoor theme. I know realistically she would be wearing a coat and a lot more clothing for an outdoor party. I just didn't know how to color the background. So I used a blue marker, I used Ohuhu markers, and I did most of the background in Ohuhu markers. I based her hair in, I think I did almost everything in Ohuhu markers, especially her jumper, her hair, her hats. Looks like I did her skin, the carpet, the sky, and then everything else was done with pencil. And I used gel pens, glitter gel pens. I used white Sakura Jelly Roll for highlights, and I think I might have used a bit of Spectrum Noir Sparkle over these stars, I'm not sure. And then I created pearls. But overall, I think it works. It was a challenge to try and balance the colors and make sure I didn't bring in extra colors. But overall, I think it's turned out okay. And at least, again, it's one WIP done. So yeah, that is my finished page, a Whimsy Girl Christmas Sweater by Hannah Lynn in Coloring Heaven Cutesy Christmas Special. So next up I have Tatiana Bergamma Stellovo, and I finished 2 pages in here. So the first thing I completed was this floral bit on this page. I had based it, I think, with Inktense pencils back in 2020, and then I didn't come back and finish it, so I grabbed my Prismacolors and I just colored the flower. I didn't take too much time with it. I didn't really worry about making it overly fancy, and then I just completed it. So that was quick and simple and fun to complete. Then I did this page, which is a lovely mix of old coloring skill and new coloring skill. So a lot of what's inside the bottles I did back in 2020, except for this log, these fish, this section here in the background, the bubbles. I tried to, and this background here, I tried really hard to keep what I'd colored the way I'd colored it, so that I could show the two sides of me coming together, the beginner and the more experienced beginner. Here again you can see I tried to illustrate the lamp. Now I'd colored the lamp in already, so I needed to create a night sky to show that it was giving off light. I used Prismacolors for this. It was simple, it was quick. Again, because it's Amazon paper, I couldn't do a lot of layers, which in some ways was helpful because it pushed me to just color quickly and get the page done. I used some glitter glue for these little flowers here and a few of the rocks. The mice I did with Castle Arts, all this in here, most of this. was all done in castle art pencils. I did that, and the lamp and these flowers here, I think even this tree was all done with castle arts. So you can see that the Prismacolor definitely pops off the page a lot better than the castle art pencils. This was also castle art. But overall, I'm very, very pleased with how it's turned out. I think it's worth being proud of. Again, I did refer to a tutorial, not a tutorial, sorry, a finished page I found on Instagram, where the person had taken white Sakura Jelly Roll or Posca and outlined the white bits of the bottle, which I found really, really helpful. So a big thank you to those of you who do post your finished pages. It really, really does help, and it really helped me to have something to refer to and guide me. So yeah, this is what I've completed in Nice Little Town 6 by Tatiana Bergamma Stellovo. I have got 4 left to do in here. And then finally, we have Fairy and Fantasy 2 by Christine Caron. And we completed this beautiful page. I did it as a color along live stream. We used polychromos pencils, and then the background, I think I used Inktense pencils, and I did with Inktense. I did try to show you the whole process. Again, you can see I was reflecting light source onto her hair, and I really like how she turned out. I gave her a green background just to complement the picture. It seemed like a sensible background to use. And for one of my first attempts at skin tone with polychromos, I think she's turned out really, really well. I used white Sakura Jelly Roll for the white dots, the accents in her eyes, and yeah, I think I did go over it, a lot of the hair with the Pro Marker Winsor & Newton alcohol blender, which really, really helped. And if you see on the back, it hasn't actually, it's bled through a little bit. You can see it a bit on this side. You can also see where I've pressed hard, but it's quite faint. So the paper, for Amazon paper, again, this is Amazon paper, it held up quite well, and it has a bit more of a tooth to it than the Gracia Salvo book, which has got a smoother finish. So I really do prefer this paper. Again, don't get me wrong, Amazon paper is nowhere near Maria Trolle paper or Hannah Carlson or anything like that, but it wasn't a terrible paper to work on. So that is my completed WIPS and all my colorings in September. Thank you so much for joining me. I do hope that you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please do subscribe, give me a thumbs up, comment below, and also head over to my Instagram and you can follow me there. I really do appreciate all the support. Your likes and comments really help the YouTube algorithm pick up my channel so that more people can see it. And I hope to see you in my next video. Until next time, everyone, happy coloring!